Hello, Nicola Bernardi here. I'm one of the coaches with Confident Kids Coaching International. And today I wanted to share with you some ideas about how to rescue yourself from what I call the funk. Um, by that I mean those dark valleys that sometimes last a few hours, but can be even a few days, sometimes even a few weeks, that many parents go through. It's very, very common for the people I serve in the program. And frankly, it's very, very common for parents everywhere. And it's something I have experienced as well as a parent, as a dad. So I think it's something that we need to talk about. And I am excited to share with you in a brief way, in a few minutes, a few ideas, a few perspectives for how we can rescue ourselves. So first of all, what do I mean by the funk? I mean those periods of time where we temporarily shut down. It is like we have lost our ability to feel the deep connection with our child, to feel like we love them, to feel like we are emotionally available for them, including emotionally available for them when they are not doing great, right? Many of our children have moments of struggle, and especially if your child is gifted, these moments of struggle can be intense and perhaps more abrupt and sometimes longer than for children who have a more typical emotional and cognitive profile. And boy, it can be hard to go through those moments. It can be excruciating, I will say, to feel like that person that you know deep down is maybe the person that you love the most in your life, your child, through those moments, through those hours, through those days, feels like impossible to be around. It is so painful to feel like you're not able to support them and that you're not able to feel the joy, the eagerness, the drive to be around them, to be with them, and to support them through challenge. And it almost feels like your presence is triggering. And chances are when somebody is going through the funk, chances are they are indeed a triggering presence. And so it is so important to recognize what you're going through and put in motion a number of maneuvers, a number of skills that will help you recover and not just spin forever and spiral down deeper and deeper into this state, which can get sticky. This is one of the problems with it. It can get heavier and heavier and can spiral down into what can basically become a clinical state of depression. But it doesn't have to. And in what I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes, I think you'll find some inspiration. So the first step that I would definitely use with myself and that I would invite anybody who is going through anything like that would be to recognize what's going on. Give it a name, which is why I'm using this kind of a little bit silly definition of the funk to have a clear label that makes it distinct and clearly else compared to your more normal way of being. Whatever it is your normal way of being, maybe it is a rather joyful, creative, spontaneous, loving way. Maybe you're more reserved, more introspective. Whoever you are, whatever is your personality, when you are going through that stage, you can tell that you're becoming something else. And so it's useful to have a label for it. And the first thing you need to be able to tell yourself is, I am in that spot right now. And once you have labeled it, and you have been able to see yourself in it, the next thing, absolutely important thing to do is to remove the judgment. That is right. You are not a bad person for being in that state. I'm taking a deep breath because this is a statement. You need to let it sink in. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that being in that state is cool or is awesome or is effective. No, there is a bunch of problems, and you're probably not helping your family, and you might be contributing to a bunch of damage. But that doesn't make you a bad person. That makes you a human being who is going through some stuff, through some challenges. And that is to be human. And if you can remove the judgment and look at yourself from a, even to begin with, more objective place, accept the fact that this is tough, this is really hard, and right now I'm going through a lot of pain, and I'm not the way I usually am. If you can let that sink in and remove all the layers of I'm a failure, I'm bad, I shouldn't be doing this, right? Now, you and I can agree that it's not great that you're doing that, but if you could do better, you would do it, right? And so I am moving from the stance that you are doing the best you can. And as such, even when you're not doing great, you're still doing the best you can. And you are deserving of respect, your own self-respect, and love, your own self-love, even when you're not showing up at your best. Because if you can establish that, then you can open up the way for the next steps, which are, of course, in the direction of helping you move out of the funk. Whereas the longer you stay stuck in the I am a failure, I'm bad for this, I'm fundamentally flawed in that place, the longer you're gonna spiral down, and the more down you're gonna end up finding yourself into, again, a depression-like state. So to be able to move out, first of all, is coming to the realization that this is human. This is part of what happens to noble, well-intentioned, healthy, fair people like you and I. And connected to that, which moves us to what I believe is the immediate next step, is to communicate clearly with the other people in your life who are responsible for parenting. For many of you, that may be a co-parent, your husband, your wife, whatever, or anybody else who is involved. Because another component that tragically contributes to these cycles escalating and kind of spiraling down is that what maybe started as a personal struggle very quickly can become a team struggle, meaning that the person who is parenting with you can feel incredibly weird about you and can feel very upset about you because you're possibly doing a number of things that are not effective for the child and also for the couple. And if they don't have a clue about what's going on, they can be understandably confused, scared, anxious, upset. And so being able to let them know, I'm going through some incredibly tough time. Maybe you don't know exactly what it is. You haven't quite put all the pieces of the domino together, but even tell them, I'm going through the funk, can be helpful for them to be oriented as to what's going on. And maybe to just go one little tiny step into the psychology of what often is at the origin of these dark valleys is often some kind of painful experience that you had as a child has been reactivated through some kind of interaction that you're living right now with your child. So there is often some kind of seed of traumatic memory that is being activated. For me personally, sometimes has to do with the yelling, right? As a child, there were moments in which there were, the adults in the house being loud in a way that kind of left a strong, difficult impression on my body. And so when my child has moments where they yell at me, and if there are maybe other things going on, and I mean, maybe in a moment, maybe with other vulnerabilities in my own life, that yelling from my child can quickly put me in a state of dysfunction that really has nothing to do with what this poor little guy is doing. He's just being a little bit too loud and maybe needs some kind of healthy limit, but he's not doing anything traumatic to me, though I may have my own kind of reactivation, and that could potentially be, an entry point into a funk phase. So whatever it is that maybe is being reactivated for you, if you can see that that is happening, it's incredibly helpful to communicate it with your co-parents so that they can be sane, stay sane, and your relationship can remain intact, and perhaps they can support you in taking a little bit of a break, which will take us into the next step, or at the very least to not freak out and not feel like now we also have a marriage problem on top of maybe parenting problems. All right, so open communication goes a long way through these moments. Now, the next step that I would recommend everybody goes through facing a moment like this is to take a step back. It can be tempting when you're going through the funk to feel like you have to double, triple, quadruple down on what you are doing with respect to how you're parenting your child, even though the evidence shows that what you're doing is not working. It's not working for your child, it's not working for you, it's bringing the whole family down. There is a kind of an inertia with respect to continuing and going even more into that direction. Whatever it is, the direction that your kind of worst impulses are taking you into. And instead of that, what I suggest is that you actually take a step back. If you can have, of course, a co-parent to do some of that step in temporarily can be helpful. Just recognizing what you're doing is not working, and it can be helpful to take a bit of distance from continuing to doing something that is not working. And moving to the next step, as you gain that distance and maybe just a little bit of time for yourself, this is where you need to know how to heal. You need to have a set of skills and practices and tools that help you come back to yourself, come back to a sense of wholeness, come back to a sense of your own fundamental goodness. Different people will have different avenues to come back to that place. So I don't think there is a one-size-fits-all for this. I do believe that each of us need to learn how to get to that place. And of course, that is part of the work that is tremendously important that we learn to do as parents, and that is part of the work that I help people in the program do. That being said, to give you some coordinates that will work, not necessarily for everybody, but maybe for many people, starting with your body is usually a great place. And so do things that help your body feel okay, maybe even very good. And so for many people, that will mean rest a bit, eat well, and move in a way that makes your body feel good, whether that is low intensity stuff like going for nice walks, or maybe for some of you is doing very high intensity stuff. And the eat well, again, for most people, that's incredibly useful, right? To feel like your body is cleaning itself. So get really to eat the things that help your body, versus going down what can be an attractive rabbit hole of instead almost harming yourself as part of the simmering process into the dark spot, right? So eating junk food, getting a really bad posture, becoming very sedentary, kind of slouching on the couch forever. These kind of automatic behaviors can be quite tempting when we're going through those dark valleys. And I would say it's really not helpful. You want to actually do the opposite, though in a way that helps you feel good, not from a place of, I hate going to the gym and I should go to the gym because it's going to make me feel good. I wouldn't necessarily do that. I would say, what actually makes you feel good? if you think about it, it's probably not sitting on the couch with a bag of chips. You know that actually it's going to feel pretty yucky, right? So whatever it is your thing, for me, going to the gym makes me feel awesome. So it's quite easy for me to choose to do. But perhaps I might choose, I'm going to go for a sauna. I'm going to maybe do a light workout and use some of the time to do something that to my body feels amazing. Okay? So start with your body, so that from the kind of ground up, almost from the flesh, you can reconnect with the sense of your fundamental goodness, from a sense of, right, what you're eating and how you're breathing and how your body is moving. And as your body starts to come back together in a very basic, visceral sense, you may then find openings toward something that happens more at the emotional level, namely, take care of yourself. Do something along the lines of self-compassion, self-forgiveness. It's something we work quite a lot of in the program, but you can also find resources online. And of course, for any of you who may have a background in any spiritual tradition, that is what a lot of the spiritual traditions are about, right? Like helping us find a powerful way into a sense of caring for ourselves that is bigger than ourselves, that come from even an expanded sense of love, whatever name you choose to give to that. Forgiveness is probably going to be an important part moving out of that sense of, caring and love for yourself. And as you move through self-compassion, forgiveness, what may come next, what you will see coming next, sometimes just a few hours later, sometimes may take a day or two, but is a renewed sense of possibility with respect to the experience of joy. And that really is the turning point, because when you are going through the funk, when you're deep into the dark valley, it feels like your access to life as joyful is being cut out. It feels like you're never going to be happy again. Maybe intellectually you know that that's BS, but in the moment that's what it feels like. And as you have been going through the process that I've described, where that took you an afternoon or maybe a couple of days, you'll notice that starts to shift. The sense of possibility connected with joy. Actually, I can still experience joy as that opens up. That is the telltale that you are moving out of the funk, and truly is transformational. And this is what I would then suggest that you do when you bring the opening toward joy into your parenting, because I believe, and it is my experience in parenting, that joy is very, very close to the essence of parenting. I would say the essence in and of itself is love, but just one step above love, or maybe in the kind of the outer ring around the core, which is love, is this incredible gift that we have to bring life. And that there is basically no anything more thrilling, more kind of that gives you a high in life, I believe, than really embracing the truth. And so as you notice that your access to the experience of joy is slowly starting to come back, bring it to your parenting. Show up in the relationship with your child, again, with a sense of, boy, this is fun. Whatever it is that it's being dealt with, whether it is actually fun, like, boy, this is fun, whatever it is that you like to do with your child, like let's run around at the playground, or whether it's a more mundane, neutral thing, whether like helping them making breakfast. Boy, this is fun, because it is fun, guys. Helping your, however old it is, right? You're 3 years old, you're 7-year-old, you're 12 years old, you're 15 years old, and maybe beyond. it is actually fun. It is crazy. It is so much. It's so full of life, so full of discovery, so full of unexpected gems, and that is fun that you want to bring back in the square center of your attention, especially if you are coming out of a funk, as a way to more quickly recalibrate and find back your footing on your more normal self. Pay lots of attention and give lots of importance to how joyful it is to be around your child across the spectrum of scenarios, from the obviously fun ones to the neutral ones. And when you're ready for it, even going all the way into the challenging ones. Because the truth, when you really look at it, it's fun to be with them when they are struggling. Not in a masochistic sense. It's fun to see them struggle. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it's mind-boggling to be able to actually help a human being that is earlier than you on the path to move through the challenges in their life. So it's fun in a perhaps expanded sense of the meaning of the word fun. But if you see what I mean, is exhilarating, is life-giving, is profoundly meaningful, and it brings a deep sense of joy to be able to show up to your child who is, I don't know, having a tantrum about putting on shoes or whatever it is, and actually realize, whoa, this is a moment that we get to work through together. Let's see how we're gonna do it. Let's see what are we gonna come up with. And I'm using the we, right? Because you are in that together. It's partly is your child responsibility to learn to regulate their emotion, direct themselves, choose to put on the shoes. But partly is also how you are contributing to the energy of the moment. What kind of perspective you're bringing to the challenge, what kind of emotions are you bringing to the situation, how are you helping them hold themselves through the moment of challenge. This is a massive piece that you're contributing. So you are in that moment together. And last, but certainly not least, remember the skills that you as a parent have to help your child, and help your child remember the skills that they have as a person to regulate themselves. And so parenting is not necessarily something that we just improvise. There can be things that we can do in a skillful way versus just improvising and basically going with whatever comes up in your mouth, the first thing that it comes. There is an important difference there. And so there are tools, there are techniques, there are frameworks that apply both to the interaction as well as to your own self that can be learned and that make a tremendous difference with respect to how we all navigate those moments. And so whatever are the tools you have, use them, get back to them, and instead of just basically flying by the seats of your pants through challenging scenarios, do them well, show up prepared, do the things that work and that help, even when they are hard to do. And to the extent that you need help learning some of these tools, because perhaps the tools that you have are not giving you the results that you hope, this is where our team can help tremendously. All right, I leave you with that. Those were kind of 4 or 5 steps. I actually encourage you to write them down. Maybe re-listen to this video with twice as speed so you can just capture them and have a little flash card somewhere in your night table. How to recover myself from the funk. Because especially if you know that maybe it has happened to you in the past, it might happen again. And if maybe it took you a long time in the past to recover from it, this time, I guarantee if you follow this sequence, you are going to cut down the time a lot, possibly 80%, down. That has certainly been my experience. I would love to hear what is going to be yours. Take care.